Alright, horror fans, grab your flashlight, lock your doors, and maybe keep a pair of clean pants nearby, because today, we're diving deep into the darkest, creepiest, and most blood-curdling upcoming horror games of 2025 and 2026. These games are not just scary, they're the kind of nightmares that make you check under your bed twice before sleeping. From haunted small towns to twisted alternate realities, we've got 5 brand new titles that will mess with your mind in the best way possible. So buckle up and let's step right into the shadows. 1. Halloween Midnight. We're starting strong with Halloween, a brand new survival horror game inspired by the legendary slasher series. And yes, the boogeyman himself is back. This game puts you in the quiet town of Haddonfield, and things start, well, normal. But within minutes, you realize something's very wrong. The power's out, the phone lines are dead, and there's someone outside your window, just watching. You'll play as multiple characters, from a babysitter trapped in a house to a sheriff trying to stop the unstoppable. The tension builds like crazy, and every decision you make actually matters. The devs have confirmed that Halloween features a new AI-driven Michael Myers who doesn't follow scripted paths. He learns how you play. If you hide too much, he hunts smarter. If you fight back, he gets faster. Combine that with dynamic lighting, cinematic sound design, and some heart-pounding chase sequences, and this might just be the scariest Halloween game ever made. Oh, and word is, it's coming to PS5, Xbox, and PC on September 8, 2026. So, plenty of time to prepare your nerves, or, just don't. 2. OD. Next up is something different. OD, the mysterious horror project from Hideo Kojima and Jordan Peele. Yeah, that combination alone should make your brain scream, what the hell is this? The title stands for Overdose, and no one really knows what the game actually is. Kojima has teased that it's an experimental psychological horror game that blurs the line between reality and gameplay. According to leaks, you don't just play OD, you experience it. The game uses AI to monitor your reactions, your voice, your breathing, your hesitation, and adapts the story based on how terrified you are. It's basically the game that watches you back. Early teasers showed Margaret Qualley walking down a dark hallway, whispering, "This isn't real," before screaming, and the screen glitching out like a cursed VHS tape. The visuals? Surreal. The tone? Disturbing. The vibes? Pure nightmare fuel. OD doesn't even have a release date yet, but when it drops on Xbox and PC, you better believe the internet's gonna break trying to figure it out. 3. Liminal Point. Now let's move to a game that's less about monsters and more about your own mind. Liminal Point is one of those horror games that sneaks up on you. You start exploring an abandoned facility in the middle of nowhere, except every time you turn around, the rooms change. It's heavily inspired by the liminal space aesthetic. Empty malls, flickering office corridors, echoing swimming pools, those weird dreamlike places that feel real but also wrong. The developers say the game's main horror isn't about jump scares. It's about unsettling. You'll question your surroundings, your sanity, and even the concept of reality itself. The lighting design alone is insane. Every shadow feels like it's watching you. Combine that with atmospheric sound, dripping pipes, distant footsteps, whispers, and it becomes this slow, psychological descent into madness. Expected in 2026 on PC, Liminal Point looks like a love letter to fans of games like E.T., Soma, and Inside. It's one of those titles that you play with headphones at 3 a.m. and immediately regret it.
In the place where hope turned to ash. So come and find me.
4. The Twilight Project. Okay, now here's one that's been wrapped in mystery. The Twilight Project. The devs haven't shared much, but what we do know is enough to make horror fans start drooling. It's a first-person narrative horror experience that plays with time, perception, and light. You're an investigator sent into a remote research facility that vanished years ago, and somehow it's trapped between dimensions. Think Control meets Alan Wake, but darker. The whole world is bathed in this eerie, shifting twilight glow, and as you explore, reality literally falls apart. Walls melt, clocks tick backward, and sometimes your own reflection starts talking back. What's crazy is that the game uses a real-time lighting engine that affects gameplay, meaning if you hide in the shadows, entities might not see you, but stay too long, and the darkness begins to consume you instead. The Twilight Project doesn't have a set release date yet, but trust me, this is the kind of game that will make your graphics card scream and your brain cry for help. 5. Ritual tides. And finally for today, ritual tides. Imagine this. You wake up on a fog-covered island, the sea roaring in the distance, and strange cult symbols carved into the rocks. Welcome to your worst vacation ever. Ritual Tides is an open-world horror adventure set in a coastal fishing village where ancient sea gods are worshipped and sacrifices are still very real. You'll explore shipwrecks, haunted lighthouses, and underwater ruins, all while uncovering the town's terrifying secret. The ocean plays a big role. It's alive, unpredictable, and hungry. The tide cycles affect gameplay. Low tide reveals new paths, while high tide brings, let's just say, things that should have stayed beneath. The game is said to blend Lovecraftian horror with modern cinematic storytelling, complete with branching narratives and immersive voice acting. Coming fall 2025 on PC, Ritual Tides looks like a chilling mix of Call of Cthulhu and Subnautica with a dash of pure nightmare.
You will be sown!
6. Frame Zero. Frame Zero is one of those games that makes you scared of your own computer screen. The story follows a digital archivist restoring corrupted video footage from a government research lab. But as you scrub through the tapes, strange figures begin to appear, ones that weren't there before. And sometimes, your screen glitches, and for a split second, it's your own webcam staring back. The gameplay mixes found footage horror with interactive puzzles. You manipulate time, rewind clips, and reveal horrifying moments that the system tried to delete. What makes it truly terrifying is its meta element. It blurs the line between the game and your desktop. You'll start hearing static from your headset even after you quit. The developers promise a story about control, memory, and paranoia, all wrapped in a chilling VHS-style aesthetic. If Immortality and Signalis had a cursed baby, this would be it. 7. Dark Lessons. Next up, Dark Lessons, a school you'll wish you never attended. Set in an abandoned private academy, you play as a substitute teacher sent to uncover what happened after a tragic fire decades ago. But as night falls, the classrooms light up again, desks rearrange themselves, and ghostly students reenact their last horrific day. You're not just walking through halls, you're reliving memories that don't want to be remembered. Each chapter feels like a twisted morality tale. Fail to understand the lesson, and the lesson consumes you. The developers describe it as an educational nightmare, blending puzzle solving, time loops, and moral choices that shape the fate of each spirit. It's creepy, smart, and deeply emotional. Imagine the medium crossed with Little Misfortune, but way more terrifying.
You've always been my favorite student, you know.
8. They Left Us Here. Now this one is pure isolation horror. They Left Us Here drops you in a massive space station orbiting a dead planet. Everyone's gone. No crew, no voices, just endless corridors and your own echo. The twist? The game never tells you what happened. You piece it together through logs, static whispers, and hallucinations that feel way too real. At times, you'll think you see people moving in the distance, but when you chase them, there's nothing there. It's got that eerie Dead Space meets Observation vibe, but slower, more psychological. And the loneliness is suffocating. The hum of machinery becomes your only companion until it starts talking back. Fans of atmospheric horror are gonna love this one. It's quiet, smart, and seriously disturbing. 9. Project Spectrum. Let's shift into something a bit more experimental. Project Spectrum. On the surface, it looks like a colorful indie puzzle game. Bright visuals, geometric rooms, weird ambient music. But the deeper you go, the more you realize those colors aren't normal. Each hue represents an emotion: fear, rage, despair, and the game forces you to navigate through feelings themselves. The horror comes from distortion. The world bends, reshapes, and reacts to your psychological state. It's almost too immersive. At some point, the cheerful voice guiding you turns cold. It knows things about you, things you never told anyone. People who tested the demo said it's one of the most unsettling experiences they've had, not because of monsters, but because it feels like the game understands your mind. It's giving serious Antichamber meets Inscription vibes, but with a mental horror twist that could redefine interactive storytelling.
Shit! Hang in there, man!
10. Broken Lore, Don't Lie. And now for something truly disturbing. Broken Lore, Don't Lie. This game feels like a lost chapter of the internet itself, a dark, narrative mystery where the truth is literally trying to hide from you. You're a myth researcher diving into an online community obsessed with a cursed story. But as you read deeper, your files start changing. Your saved data becomes messages. The characters start emailing you. The game constantly breaks the fourth wall, confronting you with lies you've told and dialogue choices, and punishing you for them. It's unpredictable, self-aware, and relentlessly creepy. The devs even say it remembers your previous playthroughs and calls you out if you try to trick it. Think Doki Doki Literature Club meets Faith, the unholy trinity, but darker, meaner, and disturbingly personal. Every word matters, and every lie leaves a scar on your story and maybe on you. 11. Or let's start with Owari, a game that proves mining can be a one-way trip to hell. You play as a lone engineer sent deep underground to reactivate a long-abandoned mining facility. The deeper you go, the stranger the rock formations get, pulsing, breathing, whispering. The veins of or start to move, and soon you realize you're not extracting minerals. You're waking something up. The game's sound design is unreal. You can hear the tunnels breathing. You can feel the vibration through the controller. There are no traditional monsters here. The mine itself is alive. You fight to keep the lights on, patch oxygen leaks, and survive hallucinations that blur time and space. If you love the claustrophobic terror of the descent or Soma, Owari is going to chew through your nerves like a drill through bone. Herror gas station case. Next up, we've got something deliciously simple and horrifyingly effective. Herror gas station case. Yes, spelled with an extra R because apparently one R wasn't terrifying enough. It's set in a lonely gas station out in the middle of nowhere, where you're the night clerk working the 3 a.m. shift. And of course, things start going very wrong. Customers vanish. CCTV cameras glitch. The phone rings, but no one speaks. Slowly, you piece together a series of murders tied to that exact location, decades apart. And guess what? The killer was never caught. What makes this game shine is its realism. Everything looks too real. The flickering fluorescent lights, the sound of rain hitting the roof, the faint hum of the fridge. It's all perfectly mundane until it isn't. It's like the convenience store meets Outlast. And if you've ever pumped gas alone at night, this one will hit way too close to home. 13. Pinacle Point. Alright, let's get coastal again. But this time, the horror isn't in the sea, it's in the people. Pinacle Point takes you to a fog-covered fishing town that's falling apart, both physically and morally. You arrive as a journalist investigating a missing persons case, but soon you uncover a deeper conspiracy involving rituals, disappearances, and a mysterious lighthouse that no one talks about. The game mixes psychological storytelling with slow-burn dread. It's got that true Detective Season 1 vibe, with a Lovecraftian twist. The NPCs feel off, they smile at the wrong times, stare too long, say your name before you introduce yourself. And that lighthouse, it's not just a landmark, it's the source of the madness. Pinacle Point is one of those games that doesn't rely on jump scares. It just crawls under your skin and stays there. Coming in 2026, it's shaping up to be a masterpiece of atmospheric tension. 14. The Fractured Shimmer. Now this one's artsy horror done right. The Fractured Shimmer looks beautiful, dreamlike, reflective, and visually surreal. But don't be fooled. Behind that beauty lies a psychological meltdown. You play as an artist who's slowly losing grip on reality after a personal tragedy. The world around you literally fractures. Mirrors become doorways. Reflections show scenes from the past, and sometimes your reflection moves before you do. The game's unique mechanic lets you switch perspectives through reflective surfaces, sometimes revealing hidden spaces, other times trapping you inside your own illusions. It's stunning, tragic, and deeply unsettling. A playable metaphor for grief and identity. If you liked Layers of Fear or What Remains of Edith Finch, imagine those games thrown into a blender with your existential dread. That's the Fractured Shimmer. 15. Harrowlight. And to wrap up this set, we have Harrowlight, a gothic nightmare that feels like reading an old ghost story by candlelight. You're a traveler stranded in a decaying village that doesn't exist on any map. Everyone speaks in riddles. The church bells ring at random hours, and the shadows whisper your name. The game's design is old-school gothic, candlelit halls, stained glass, thunder, and secrets buried beneath the chapel floor. But what makes Harrowlight special is its morality system. Every choice literally changes the light. Tell a lie, and the world darkens. Tell the truth, and the entities notice. The entire game is about guilt and redemption, and how light itself can betray you. With visuals inspired by Bloodborne and storytelling like Amnesia, Rebirth, Harrowlight feels like a classic reborn, haunting, poetic, and utterly terrifying. 16. Vampire: The Masquerade, Bloodlines 2. Let's kick off with a legend reborn. Vampire: The Masquerade, Bloodlines 2. After years of delays, drama, and developer changes, this long-awaited sequel is finally sinking its fangs into 2025. Set in Seattle's dark underbelly, you play as a newly turned vampire navigating the city's secret supernatural hierarchy. Politics, power, and bloodlust collide as you decide how to survive or dominate a world that hides in the shadows. But this isn't your typical action game. Every conversation, every choice, every kill matters. Your morality, or lack of it, shapes the story. The nightclubs pulse with danger, the alleys drip with secrets, and the writing? Top-tier noir horror. It's stylish, seductive, and sinister. A vampire fantasy where beauty and brutality walk hand in hand. Launching October 21st, 2025 on PS5, Xbox, and PC. This might be the comeback horror RPG fans have been thirsting for, literally.
It brought you here, my fire. My fire.
17. Eggspedition. Okay, hear me out. A horror game about eggs. Yeah, Eggspedition might sound like a joke, but it's one of the strangest, most creative indie horrors coming in 2026. You play as a biologist exploring a remote Arctic research base where something inside the specimen eggs has started to hatch, and it's not birds. The game starts scientific, slow, full of data logs and specimen analysis, until the eggs start cracking. The sound design is disgusting, wet, sticky, crawling noises echoing through frozen halls. Soon, the station becomes a maze of horror, frozen corpses, moving shadows, and creatures born from nightmares and yo. It's equal parts The Thing and Alien, isolation, but with a twisted sense of humor. The tagline says it all: life finds a way, then eats you. Eggspedition, coming to PC in 2026, might just scramble your brain.
Eyeball. That's what I hit them. And the back. Five more red keys. Don't get out, get in the mission. Sure, don't count you. Ah!
18L. Now, let's get to the heavy hitter, ILL. This one has been haunting horror fans ever since that first ultra-realistic trailer drop. Developed by Team Cloud, ILL is a body horror first-person shooter where you face off against grotesque, mutating abominations that feel too real. The visuals are next level. I'm talking cinematic quality gore, muscles tearing, bones cracking, flesh morphing, all powered by Unreal Engine 5. The story? You're a survivor in a decaying rural town where an infection turns people into walking biological nightmares. What makes ILL stand out isn't just the horror, it's the physics. Everything reacts. Bodies, limbs, walls, weapons. It's gruesome, chaotic realism at its finest. And the atmosphere? Thick. You can almost smell the rot through the screen. Think Resident Evil 7 meets The Last of Us, but way more disturbing. No solid date yet, but expect it sometime in late 2025, and when it drops, it's going to melt the internet and your stomach. 19. Backrooms, Lost Runners. Now for something truly nightmare-inducing. Backrooms, Lost Runners. You've seen the memes. You've watched the videos. You've heard the hum of those yellow, buzzing walls. Now it's time to live it. This game takes the viral internet myth of the backrooms and turns it into a full-scale psychological survival experience. You and a few other lost souls wake up in an endless maze of empty offices, flickering lights, and damp carpets, and you're being hunted. But the real horror isn't the monsters. It's the hopelessness. The further you run, the deeper you go. Each level changes randomly. Geometry shifts, walls move, rooms repeat, and the game keeps track of your sanity. Lose it, and the world starts to glitch, twist, and whisper. It's multiplayer, too, but trust me, that won't save you. The moment your teammate disappears around the corner and their voice cuts out, that's when you realize you're completely alone. Backrooms, Lost Runners drops in 2026 for PC, and I guarantee it's going to be streaming gold for horror fans.
Nick! Anybody?
We need to get to Epsilon. Fast.
Fuck. Ryan? You... what the hell has even going on here?
I don't have time.
20. Psycho Dead. And finally, the twisted finale, Psycho Dead. This isn't your typical zombie game. It's a psychological survival thriller about guilt, trauma, and insanity. You wake up in a decrepit asylum, surrounded by bodies, and every one of them looks like you. The line between reality and hallucination blurs as you fight through waves of the undead, or maybe just your own mind. The title, Psycho Dead, isn't about monsters outside. It's about the monster inside. Every kill, every escape, every scream feels personal, because the game reads how you play. It tracks your decisions, your fear responses, and mirrors them back at you in the story. One ending reveals you were never alive to begin with. Another shows the entire game was your punishment. It's gritty, bold, and psychological horror done right. Psycho Dead, coming 2026, promises to be the game that makes even hardcore players question their sanity and reality.
The power within you is extraordinary. Not everyone has power like you, Elixia.
So, I'm just a weapon to be used. Then why are you helping me?
I just don't want...
And there you have it, 20 upcoming horror games that are about to make 2025 and 2026 the most terrifying years in gaming history. From cosmic dread to digital nightmares, these aren't just games. They're experiences you'll never forget, even if you want to.